By the time Canadians reach the age of 40, 1 in 2 either have or have had a mental illness at some point in their lives. My name is Diviya Lewis. I'm the founder of Choose Gratitude. Gratitude is a concept that I was raised with. Growing up in an immigrant family, values of humility, of working hard, being thankful, and kind were all ingrained in me. But growing up with less than all my peers, I found myself really striving for so many materialistic things. And I got into a phase of my life where I thought I had everything that I could want to be happy, and I wasn't. And so then I started turning inwards and rediscovered the power of gratitude. I conducted a research survey on perceptions of gratitude as well as barriers to practicing gratitude. And from those insights, I created a discussion guide to explore some of those themes that emerged. Some of the key barriers mentioned were related to internal challenges, our fears, ingrained beliefs, so we explored this a bit. We also discuss in these roundtables how people practice gratitude and perceptions towards this positivity movement and how gratitude relates in this.
I am Frances Murray.
I'm JJ.
I am a therapist turned humanitarian aid worker.
I work in sales for the financial services industry.
I work in tech.
I hope that anybody watching this is encouraged to practice gratitude.
Not looking or thinking about the next thing, but really trying to appreciate the moment that you're in.
There is life and death in the power of your tongue. It means that your words carry weight.
This panel contained some of the most diverse people I've ever seen, but it was interesting to see that we all had so many similarities.
We're not all that different, and it's okay to, it's okay to talk about the real things.
Being born and raised in Canada, I have the opportunities that a lot of folks with disabilities do not in the world, and I realize that and appreciate that.
I moved to Canada 4 years ago with my family.
I am a father, a husband.
A beam of light, and that's how I'm going to introduce myself.
I wanted to get a diverse group together, so a mixture of age, gender, ethnicity, occupation, economic status, and really represent the diverse perspectives of our audience with the hopes that someone can find someone that they resonate with. They can hear their story articulated on the screen. In today's job market, competition is fierce. We're seeing a rise in employee absenteeism and turnover, and globalization is opening up possibilities of international recruitment. In turn, job responsibilities and pressures and expectations, as well as a time commitment and job-related stress is rising.
I'm a dental hygienist by profession, and I've been at it for about 15 years. And the same way that everybody hates going to the dentist, people who work at the dental office aren't really that happy either. It's just exhausting physically, mentally. Everyone that comes to see you is also miserable being there. So it really transfers. And when you're there for 8-hour, 10-hour days, seeing one person after the other, there is a huge lack of joy or fulfillment, even in terms of career-wise.
So basically, even when I was working full-time, I always had some kind of side hustle. And so pretty much I'm either always working or thinking about work or checking up work or reading something about related to work. So I was thinking about the last vacation my husband and I went on this past December for our anniversary, because we've been together 10 years. And the whole time we've been together, he's never really seen me not work in some kind of capacity. And so I think it kind of almost, brought us a little bit closer together. Not that we weren't close, but it was a different kind of close.
Can you think of a time that time is a barrier to doing more? Yeah.
Then definitely time is the biggest barrier, and I have to be honest, I allocate pretty much a lot of time to what makes me happy, but I found that it makes some other areas of life a little bit abandoned, like cooking, cleaning the house. So I understand that I would be more happy to come in the clean house and eat something tasty. But for now, I just feel that for me, it's maybe better just go outside and do what I like.
In my previous work environment, I struggled with some of my relationships with coworkers. And I never really understood what it was that was causing such friction in those relationships. And one day I decided to read a book on emotional intelligence. And as I started applying some of the strategies that were inside this book, it helped me realize that I do have more control over my reactions to different stimuli within my work environment, different situations. And then as part of that journey of mindfulness, one of the things that they also talk about is recognizing the difference, recognizing that thoughts are just thoughts, and you can't always necessarily assign them as being good or bad. And then once I realized that, the next logical step was to recognize that thoughts also don't have to influence behavior. And you can just have a thought, be cognizant of that thought, and then let it pass.
I want to pose a question that's maybe twofold. One, how happy are you, how satisfied are you with the amount of time you're spending and the time that you allocate to these things that bring you joy? And if it's not enough, or if you've ever been in a point in your life where it hasn't been as much, what were some of the barriers or challenges that you faced in terms of, you know, really allocating time to those moments of joy? Sometimes we know what brings us joy and what to do, but we might not have the time and resources to do it.
I feel like time is such a rare commodity these days and in most people's lives. And that's when I think about your question, when I think about, are you doing, you know, the thing that gives you the most joy, and what are some of the barriers? That is the biggest thing.
Time. I can see nodding as well.
Yeah, I do really like my job. I really do. I get a sense of fulfillment from it, but I think there's different types of fulfillment, and that's the struggle. It's to get fulfillment in different aspects of your life.
Yep.
There seems to be a deficit in some areas, and there's sort of an abundance in another. And it's the imbalance of that, I think, that creates that unrest or dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. Like, for some reason, the moment you said that, like time and everything, and protecting it, I thought of my homeboy Seneca. So he's an ancient Roman philosopher, and so one of the things he writes on the shortness of life, he writes that we squander things like money, for example, we protect things like money, but we squander the thing that's actually most valuable to us as if it was nothing, which is time. Because money, as you know, comes and goes. Time, it's gone. You spend it, it's done. And
so do you find as well, JJ, that it's time with you? You don't have enough time to allocate to?
For me, it's not really necessarily just time, because this goes back to what Vicky said. It's also the quality of it, right? Yeah. After work, you probably had time, but you have no energy to do it. So it's a combination of different things. Like personally, for these, let's say for dance, which I love, I protect it very viciously. Yeah. Even if it's only like 1 minute a day, I don't care. I'm gonna figure out some way to enjoy it. Even if I have to imagine it or simulate it, I will do it.
I'm constantly trying to seek that joy, but I don't know what the outcome will be, and so I end up like wasting a lot of time, or which sucks, because like, I mean, obviously like time is a commodity and we don't want to do that, but yeah, I feel like things, I do aim for joy, and I'm constantly seeking it, but it is hard to kind of like peg exactly what I want. Like right now.
And I realize this for myself too. We're always very goal-oriented, goal-driven. If I get this, then I will feel that. When I get there, I'll feel this. So when I feel this, I'll feel happier. And I found that I was doing that and have been doing it for the longest time in my life. So, and there was no satisfaction every time I got to my milestones, to the point where I realized this seeking of joy, you're spending time trying to find it, trying to chase it, becomes this unattainable entity that, you know, you've made it elusive, you can't get that. So it's more of a reverse where I'm trying to be more mindful. So mindfulness comes into how do I feel right now? What are things that elicit joy? Instead of me chasing it, they are there. I just need to open my eyes and my mind to feel and experience it. So that way I can still get my goals, but I'm doing it from a joyful standpoint versus I'm miserable till I get there.
What you were talking about, that unattainability, which is why we're seeking joy. It's not something that we are. We're not joyful, we're seeking it. We're trying to find it in sort of like corners or like, you know, whenever we can, but we're not living and breathing it. So going back to the whole time aspect of it, I feel like time is very interconnected to money. And that's what it all comes down to. It's not just this pursuit of wanting to be rich. It's just the pursuit of having a life. It's just a pursuit of paying your bills. And that is such, because it's survival. And so when your mindset is all about, okay, I need to survive, and the society that we live in is very set up to be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm always thinking that way. And I'm never happy when I actually get there. And part of it is because money is such a big element of that. And it's the thing that we need to survive. And so we're never happy because we self-adjust our lives. So we get to that next level and then we say, okay, I'm gonna now buy another car. So you have another payment. So you never feel that you've accomplished anything. You just feel strapped again. And so then you get to the next level and then you purchase something else and then you feel strapped again. It's this,
Does that resonate with other people feeling strapped for money?
Yeah.
So anxiety is a natural state that we all experience, each human experiences. What it does is create a chemical bath of adrenaline and other chemicals that stimulate us and allow us to be hyper-focused on things. And that can be really helpful. But the problem can be is that it can get overstimulated, and where you either become really anxious and have to move and get out of the situation because that's your flight response, or you can get overwhelmed and you freeze and can't think about anything. And we have to find that fine line between when it's a good experience, it's kind of motivating us, it's kind of energizing us, to when we go over the line and we either want to run away from it or freeze and can't remember and do things.
The economic burden of mental illness in Canada is estimated at $51 billion per year. There is a palpable shift in our workplaces today, and employees are looking for more than just a paycheck and job security. They want a sense of fulfillment and more of a work-life balance. They want to feel valued and appreciated. This web series is for anyone who feels alone in their fears or pain. It's for those who have struggled to navigate today's landscape, whether social media, workplace struggles, lack of time, communication, or asking for help. It's for anyone who has felt that they aren't enough, who is missing something in their lives, or maybe feel like they don't belong.